It was quite cool, you know, to have the Olympic Games in Paris.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get them back to Germany sometime. That would be nice.
There's something to it, like the Olympic rings.
Yeah, it's really nice.
And in today's video, we actually have a vehicle that theoretically, I believe, would make a good impression at Electric Olympic Games.
Certainly in the 100-meter leap.
We've got the brand new Tesla Model S Plaid right here for you. It impressively boasts over 1,000 horsepower, as well as more than 1,000 Newton meters of torque, making it an astonishingly high-performance sports sedan limousine. He used to be single. Back in 2020, I also had a Tesla Model S Raven myself. Back then, you knew me as Tesla Ollie. And we made some videos about Tesla and the Tesla Model S. And I have to start by saying that I'm of course a bit of a Model S fan, right? Sure, I'm not a fanatic, but a fan, and that'll persist at times. I'm giving you a heads up since they do appear in this video. Elon Musk, in association with Tesla, has fundamentally revamped the Model S, enhancing it with some impressive new visual touches and highlights. Let's take a quick look at it together today from the outside and the inside, but then we really want to focus on the test drive and the over 1,000 horsepower because it, of course, now, unlike 2020, has a completely different competitive environment with, for example, of course, the Porsche Taycan GT, which has indeed succeeded in beating it both in terms of acceleration and also round speed, including a fast lap. And of course, with the new Lotus email, along with a number of other derivatives that are now poised to enter the market soon. So he's not swimming solo anymore, Stefan, right?
No, he's facing quite a bit of competition now.
I would say, let's not waste any time and dive right into the brand new Tesla Model S Plaid. Check if you're in the einfach Elektrisch community. If not, we would be really thrilled. By subscribing, you won't miss out on the video about consumption and the charging check. And as always, we start from the outside, start from the front, looking at the front section of the Tesla Model S Plaid. And the Model S, just like the Plaid, has received a very beautiful new front bumper. I think it suits him very, very well. It looks more high performance. The whole car has also become a bit wider due to the widening of the fenders, which we'll see on the side in a moment. And it got slightly different headlights, where matrix functions are probably also available as an option. Yeah, the LED headlights from my old one were an absolute disaster, especially in bad weather, in the rain and in the dark. And the newer headlights might be a little bit better, yet they still don't achieve the high standard of an HD matrix headlight system found in a Porsche or Mercedes-Benz, or even BMW with their intricate laser light technology. You simply have to admit it. When prioritizing superior lighting quality, Tesla's current headlights aren't the best choice out there right now. I find it a bit unfortunate because Tesla has always been somewhat of a pioneer in electromobility. Let's take a look to see if that's still the case today. In any case, we have the optional and extra cost Arachnid wheels installed on here. They were already available on the predecessor. Now a bit more aerodynamically optimized, then in the dimension 21-inch Stefan 265/55. R21. I think it's a 4,900 euro surcharge. You can spot the badge by the red brake caliper. As mentioned, optionally, there's also a ceramic carbon brake available with a track package. It's probably not going to be orderable initially, since Tesla is facing those all too familiar homologation issues once more. I wonder what's so difficult about offering a track pack like that from the start, right? Well, anyway, let's not spend our time dwelling on it. We have it in a wonderfully beautiful stealth grey shade. It costs an additional 2,600 euros.
Yeah, it's way too much again, but okay.
But take a closer look here. When I see these metallic particles, there's a very subtle hint of blue blended in with the grey. Looks absolutely awesome. It kind of reminds me a bit of an Aston Martin. I know, some people will probably laugh and scoff on the couch now, but it is true. And the paint quality, the panel gaps, I think they are now completely fine on the Model S. That's different from mine, where in the back, you could still slide a wallet through the trunk lid. All that has improved. Yes, the door handles are the same, except that they are now black. The frame here is now black too. Tesla has kind of darkened that on all models. But back here, Stefan, please take a look. Do this sweep forward to the fender and then maybe also back again. Those are undeniably quite wide cheeks. Particularly at the front, it truly catches the eye. That just suits the car so well, in my opinion. I think it's fantastic. However, where Tesla didn't quite go far enough is with the taillights. Making the fenders wider is cool, but sadly the taillights still resemble a design akin to a 2012 Daihatsu, which detracts slightly from the modern look. Nothing against Daihatsu, it was modern back then, but it doesn't fit the times anymore, does it?
No, trendier ones indeed do exist now.
And honestly, they only did this so that the charging port is now with CCS, which I think is awesome. Back then, I only had the Type 2 connector and a CCS adapter that would fit into it. Otherwise, I think they wouldn't have touched the lights at all.
I genuinely don't think so either.
I always wonder, where does Spawn stop? Where does customer loyalty and model maintenance begin? Let's be honest, anyone with an old Model S really needs compelling reasons to buy a new one, right?
Okay.
Let's take a look and see if he has them accordingly. Let's check the length again. And it appears he has actually slid well over the 5-meter mark. I think mine was 4.99 meters. Now it's 5.02 meters. That's also partly due to the fact that they've made it a bit wider, a bit longer, to also achieve an even better drag coefficient. I believe it's now rated at 0.21. It just narrowly missed catching up to the Mercedes EQS, which still holds the world record for production vehicles with a drag coefficient of 0. It measures 2 meters 0 and 1 meter 98 in width, meaning with mirrors it extends to 2 meters and 18. With a height of 1 meter 43, it's sleek and flat, but not quite as flat as a Porsche Taycan, which we should note. The wheelbase is 2 meters 96, and it houses a 100 kilowatt-hour gross battery pack with 400-volt tech, offering 95 kilowatt-hours net usable. Still, even so, I find there's a bit of limited battery capacity compared to other vehicles.
Yes, some candidates have a bit more.
Well, I'd really kind of like to give the Tesla around 100, maybe even 110 kilowatt hours net capacity, simply so that we can achieve decent driving ranges, particularly when traveling at a brisk pace, that it is probably quite efficient at a leisurely pace. That's what I would guess, and we'll find out during the consumption test. However, when it comes to driving at a brisk and quick pace, I continuously tend to have my doubts about that. Yes, let's take a quick walk around here. By the way, the curb weight is a solid 2.2 tons, and that's a good curb weight because if we consider an EQS with 108 kilowatt hours net, so 10 kilowatt hours more, it already weighs 2.7 tons, and 2.7 tons don't come from 10 kilowatt hours net, do they? Yes, for the charging port, Tesla continues with 3-phase 11 kilowatts. I really would have favored this change for it. Also to charge at 22 kW. Tesla actually included this as standard in the Model S for a while because it gave the car the chance to go from 0 to 100% in just 5 hours. And DC is using its 400-volt system at Tesla superchargers, delivering up to 250 kilowatts at peak output. At other charging stations that somehow doesn't work because it simply can't adjust the amperage or the voltage. I never get it because you should build a car that can deliver 250 kilowatts at any charging station capable of 350 kilowatts, right?
Is it just more excuses once again?
I don't know, it's like, how should I say? It's always like this, yeah, I somehow take a different path from everyone else and then I'm special. But it's not special because if you don't have a supercharger nearby and you're using Ionity, Allego or EMBW, then you just stand a bit longer, 1 or 2 minutes, compared to a supercharger.
That's not needed, yes.
The tires are mixed, with the front being 265 and the rear 295. Let's take a look under the hoods to discover what's inside, all right? From the very start, what Tesla has achieved is making full use of all the available spaces in an electric vehicle, especially in terms of maximizing space efficiency. Sure, not quite as big as with the first Tesla Model S from 2014, where you practically had a trunk in the front, almost like in the back, but still with 89 liters and at least... In my opinion, it's also very high quality with carpeted lining. Here's an emergency opening. That's typically American. We have the windshield washer opening. Here, we don't have any insulation. We'll check that later with the interior noise measurement to see if it affects anything, since climate compressors are here too. Right here, the second electric motor is also present. In this particular Plaid model, we have 2 powerful electric motors comfortably installed along with, yes, around 1,020 horsepower total. Tesla gives no official details. Yet again, with the secrecy, no Newton meter information provided. It really makes me wonder, what's so secretive about that? Is it 1020 or 1049, or I really don't know, it's just so...
needless.
Sure, let's instead take a look and see how this Californian tuning actually sounds, shall we?
3, 2, 1, let's get started.
Sentence! Many of you still write to me saying, what do you want with a frunk? Nobody needs that. Yes! I do need it to store my charging equipment, because in winter with foul weather, I don't want to mix it with my luggage or put it in a double bottom compartment. When I then also have luggage to load, taking out the luggage first, then basically getting my charging cable, putting the luggage back in, charging and back and forth. And all that, but I don't want to waste more time. Let's see how large the trunk space is. And that's where Tesla, in each of its vehicles, there's just maximum space. First of all, quality. Tesla has always faced criticism, the material mix, but Stefan, up here I am. Take a look, everything is exquisitely lined with the finest carpet, it's all truly fancy. There's a lamp inside, it's all nicely done and not that hard, cheap plastic, right?
Yeah, that's great.
And even up here on the rear shelf, we have the Alcantara, as the Spaniard says, taken from the headliner. This makes a visual unity. I must really praise Tesla for this. And what's cool is, by the way, you can get these mounts from the aftermarket here. I've made a video for you on how to properly attach it. It's really about keeping it simple, not dealing with a flimsy sloppy flop situation. It's kind of like a blind. No, it's meant for the chest area to ensure things are secure, so you can either fold it up or attach it in a way that it folds up automatically. You can load things properly here. If it's not needed, just take it out without an issue. Also, again, nicely lined with carpet. I also find that really classy from Tesla. Well, I really have to almost fanboy-like give praise here, and 799 liters, that's quite unmatched in such a sloping hatch. I don't think even the Mercedes EQS has that. Probably like 680 or so, but let's not argue over 20 liters. And here we have something that the EQS doesn't have at all. Such a huge compartment, or competitively it stands out. You can almost fit 2 crates of water in there. And then you've got this little compartment here for knickknacks. Then you've got a little compartment here to maybe stash a charging cable or other bits and pieces, even with a nice carpet storage area. Just take a look. Everything is elegantly furnished with the finest high-pile carpet throughout. I must also praise that. Even the back paneling of the rear seats, fine carpet. So there's absolutely nothing to dispute here, not even a little bit. And actually, if we're being completely honest, just take a look at this, beautifully finished in this black aluminum. And then there's also, once again, a properly designed loading edge.
Yes, that is indeed all.
But if you step back a bit, we also have a reasonable loading height here. I often think about the ladies too, about the heavy boxes they might have to lift because the gentlemen don't do it for them. That's always a story. And then we always say, now I have to go around and do something. No, you can really just simply... But that's not spring-loaded, right? No, it doesn't slide, right?
Not really, no, it doesn't.
Do you suppose it's stuck?
Sure.
Maybe with a belt or something like that? Because ideally it should just slide, shouldn't it? And then you suddenly have 1,828 liters instead of 709. Just a slight increase. That's fine. I have just one critique. It might not be relevant for everyone. Somehow I'm missing either 20% of the 60% on the driver's side to further subdivide, or a pass-through compartment for a long stick or skis in winter.
Yeah, that would have been cool, but I gotta say, just the overall volume you get here, that's awesome.
So it's just so much fun, right? When you take a look at such a value, wouldn't you agree? Honestly, I truly believe that some folks just skim over it and tend to say, oh, well, does it really make a difference if there's plastic or not in the end? Based on my memory, the starting price for a Tesla Model S Plaid is at 107,900 euros, if I'm not mistaken. So the normal long range, which I believe already has 700 horsepower, is around 92 something. So
Exactly, that's quite a lot, yeah.
well, that's just so much, a huge amount of money that people work so hard for, including me, that I just say, I want quality materials there too, right?
And you'll indeed discover it right here too.
And what's amazing is how it opens electrically.
Closer C.
It consistently works, which really surprises me. Also, it's possible to attach a roof rack here, supporting a roof load of up to 75 kilograms.
Yes, good, enough.
Including the option for an additional trailer hitch. Eine 0,6 Tonnen Anhängerlast. With 100 kilograms of nose weight, it's essential for fans of pedelec sports, isn't it?
Perfect, Christoph. Easy tri-piece on it.
So name me another family car that's so versatile, has so much power probably, that if you find consumption stats on it, also has a certain efficiency. And offers 1,020 horsepower for 107k.
You might find...
Not find much. With the Taycan, you can consider a factor of 2.1. The Lotus Emea is certainly more interesting price-wise, but I believe it also falls more in the range. Sportiest version at 160, 170k with carbon package and all the bells and whistles. And I have to say, in that regard, the panel is simply unbeatable. The only problem Tesla still has, and I must also criticize this, is despite all the good consumer prices. They generally tend to rarely present genuinely good financing options in that respect.
Leasing offers, it's still that take it or leave it mentality.
So I've heard that a basic Taycan, sure, it only has around 400 horsepower. In overboost, you can get it from 700 euros net as a business customer. You don't get anything for that with Tesla. I don't think you even get a Model Y for that, right?
That will definitely be difficult, yeah.
On the outside, we've shown you everything. Let's head inside. We'll do the window check. We have a thick outer pane, a film, and then a thin inner pane. So you might describe that as being double glazing. Now, let's go ahead and take a closer look at the door panel together. This was a criticism with the old Model S, where there were also no storage options down here. We have a really high-quality material mix here, faux leather with soft padding. Then here we have this matte carbon. Then here again a plastic strip. Looks like chrome. A bit of black here again. Here, white faux leather, softly padded. For window lifts, we have the electric button to open the door. We have an emergency release. And here below, everything is softly lined with foam. Very, very high quality. Inside, there is also some faux leather laid. I really need to emphasize, especially with the fabric combination, it stands out as one of the best door panels we've showcased in quite a long time. Tesla. So it is possible, chapeau. A warm welcome here in the interior, and I must say, this is a dashboard I would have wished for from the very beginning. The only thing I'm missing is the head-up display. We actually get that with all premium manufacturers either at an extra cost or even as standard in most cases. Personally, I don't find myself needing it. However, it's undoubtedly a fantastic aid for many people while driving, as it helps to keep their focus on the road and thus be less distracted. And especially when we then have some premium manufacturers, like for instance in a VW ID.4. With augmented reality arrows flying around, it's pretty nice.
Sure, often helps.
Exactly, otherwise we have a very nice large driver display here. Looking down at the speed isn't much of a distraction. No head-up displays back then, yet people drove thousands of kilometers. You always have to put that into perspective a bit. Yeah, what we don't have this time is the jog steering wheel. I'm not really a fan of the yoke steering wheel, except for the fact that when this section is absent, you should ideally always have an unobstructed view of the display, no matter the steering position. You can pull the steering wheel closer, you can adjust its height all through a control here on the display. I think it's absolutely fine. The mirror adjustment is also operated here through the display interface. It's perfectly okay for everyone with issues, and even those who took the car for a test drive noticed that. The entire right rims are all screwed up. So it's just missing the option to maybe manually lower the mirror. Typically, I reverse into a double garage that has 2 doors, and the space is quite limited with a vehicle that is as large and wide as this one. I actually prefer not having my mirror tilted down so I can see the gate more clearly. I believe everyone is different with this. You can also set it so when reversing, mirror lowers. So we don't want to dwell on that. This feels good here with faux leather. Where Tesla has a problem is probably, this is speculation on my part, people who use a hand cream. There's always a small amount of citric acid in it. I was just told by a steering wheel manufacturer that with these synthetic leathers, the citric acid content somehow removes the plasticizer from the synthetic leather, right?
Yeah, then it all feels kind of odd.
All over the internet, you can find numerous scenarios depicting Tesla steering wheels that have developed unsightly bubbles or appear to have become noticeably worn out. The levers have now been completely removed. Instead, we now have blinker buttons in place, along with a high beam button and a little bit of wiper control and even a camera function here. Well, the turn signal lever didn't bother me.
Didn't bug me.
Let's be honest, it's more of a straightforward simplicity that benefits Tesla's wallet substantially because they simply save on 2 such levers, each probably equipped with micro switches and complicated cable harness stuff. These components might end up costing us about 2 to 3 euros per car, and then in principle this savings can significantly increase the profit margin on thousands or even millions of cars produced. You can say it honestly like that. Yes, the gear shifter is basically up front, meaning you swipe forward to get D, swipe backwards, and then you have the reverse camera in reverse gear. Then also with the rear camera as well as the side cameras. We'll get into more detail on this in our parking scene later. So in that sense. And I believe you can get used to it quickly. Yes, where Tesla has always excelled is with the processors that are installed here. They're really on top of things. I genuinely have to say the software, as you explore the various menus and settings, including options for suspension, is honestly quite impressive. It's all a nice gimmick and really great and well organized, and in my opinion, it also has a high level of simplicity. Only a few manufacturers can achieve that performance level currently. I also find it fantastic that there are two inductive charging pads positioned here, allowing both the driver and the passenger to conveniently charge their smartphones during the drive. Here you also have emergency buttons for PR&D that remain statically present. Additionally, we have beautifully crafted sliding compartments which you can easily open and close for convenient storage. That means you can really pack something deep in here and then just pull it out easily from the front whenever you need it. That used to be all aftermarket accessories in older vehicles, you know? Accessory companies are really starting to suffer now. Yes, they buy less. That means we have two cup holders here, everything nicely in matte carbon. But I must say, I really like how everything looks very high quality. It's nice and clean. Again with the center armrest, which we can open up here, revealing a nice, large, deep compartment inside, where we have a variety of options to store things efficiently, so the interior is truly remarkable, but there's a problem I have. Still recognize, Stefan?
Yeah, that really burns on the head.
I'm serious, no kidding. The glass roof is truly amazing, and when you take a seat there, it's even more incredible because you really get this perfect view, allowing you to gaze at the starry sky in the dark. But when the sun, like today in Berlin, 30 degrees, blazing down heavily straight above your head, you'll definitely notice my hair up here. Sure, you see it? Blooming.
You know it, and I have less hair than you.
So, and none of those Tesla fanboys need to tell me, yeah, you can get some aftermarket shades that you can clip in. I know, I've done that in my own Model S as well. However, what I'm really looking for is a shade or some dimming option directly from the manufacturer so I don't experience a hot plate effect. Honestly, at $107,000 for this car, you can't expect that. Shouldn't that be standard? A look through the side door reveals our electrics. I'm sweating, the sun coming through the sunshade. The white interior will cost you around €2,400 in price. The series come in black. Alternatively, you can choose beige, and with the plaid version, it's consistently paired with matte carbon. Otherwise, my understanding is that there are dark wood tones that come with the standard model. And if we add everything up now, considering the stealth gray exterior, along with the arachnid wheels plus the sleek white interior, we're almost back to about 119K. So with tow bar, we're at 120 kilograms. So even Tesla is just normal, right? But nicely done. We have a nice perforation here. We have a lovely anthracite-colored piping. We have beautiful anthracite-colored seams. It matches totally. Great. Looks super high quality. This vegan leather is crafted so brilliantly that you can always restore it to a pristine snow white with the right cleaning agents. You have to be fair and say that. Hardly any other manufacturer can manage that, and now it comes standard with seat heating and ventilation. What I truly miss, as I'm familiar with it in this kind of vehicle category, is the option for a seat massage feature.
Not again, is it?
No? We don't ring for extra charges, and I can't see why not. They could just offer it or include it in the price. I guess with a reputable seat maker, it's usually like here, I believe Recaro is also on board. That really must be feasible, right? However, it's very sporty with excellent lumbar support, nice thigh support, great shoulder support, and comfortable cushioning here, along with an integrated headrest. Sure, they're not racing seats that you might expect in a 1,000 horsepower car, and even there I would wish, feel free to write in the comments how you see it, that like in the Tesla Model 3 Performance, at least for those who want it, offer racing seats as an option again, right?
It'd be pretty nice.
Kind of cool, right? Otherwise, everything here is really well made. Here's faux leather again. You can see we have a glove compartment that opens electronically. I don't think I need to show it. I've shown it 100 times, but I'm happy to. I know where the button is. Nicely lined with felt, it fits the essentials inside. Look, a beautiful high pile carpet. Also, a nice entry sill with Model S. I miss a small, subtle hint on the sheet there as well. Look, the beautiful high pile fabric goes up here, then here is faux leather, and then Alcantara. Also one of the finest. Production models are perhaps the very best production B grade, and nothing makes a rattle here. You're driving alone with no one sitting here over the cobblestones, and there's definitely no rattling. And that's exactly what I expect with premium, with luxury, and I think for a price, I can truly expect it.
There he is again.
I just can't quite figure out what's happening with Tesla. Is it only with press vehicles and demo vehicles that they attach something like that to effectively prevent stones from being tossed up when people drive the car around? Or is that a standard at Tesla now?
I don't know. Nice the fuel cap on there. We used to have that on the Trabi too.
Our neighbor had that. He was over 80, so he didn't wash his car or anything. I don't know. Whatever. We want to see with you if Ollie fits with his 6 feet 1 inch tall and his fawn-like 220 pounds. Here, smoothly getting onto the spacious back seat, and we want to try that out together with all of you. And here in the rear section, I must say I'm sitting incredibly comfortably, and the design of these sporty seats, just take a look, even that's extremely awesome with Tesla. Here, with the excellent support provided in the lumbar and thigh areas, that's exactly what I would expect from a high-performance vehicle like this. That there are also sporty seats back here, right?
Yeah, and especially you have a really nice shape. You fit in there perfectly well.
And we have to be honest here, you don't get that in the Taycan either, and as far as I know, not in the Lotus E-Media. Finally, we get a center armrest, which the old Model S lacked, apparently removed by Mr. Musk. What do you think?
Very nicely designed.
I'm opting for a larger compartment. I would guess you can charge inductively right here. My phone is up front, and we've got 2 handy cup holders. It's all incredibly super chic, isn't it?
Nice, yeah.
Except that it kind of creaks a little here.
Yes, well, however, we do know that from other brands too.
Yeah, why don't we... That was really a tearjerker, wasn't it?
Hey, now don't push it.
I think it's just soft around here.
There we have the American plastic chic again.
Sure, come on in. We've got a nice, spacious display back here where we're able to clearly see that Tesla, as opposed to in a Mercedes EQS, for example, only offers seat heating 3 times back here. So the middle seat is also heated. 3 stages for everything, which is nice, but I'm missing ventilation back here.
Well, it's not.
In my EQS, there are seat massages in back. Of course, we don't find that here again. We can fold this up very nicely here. We accomplished this really, really well here. Just take a look, push it upwards like that. Fold it up perfect. Isn't it great?
There aren't any unattractive zippers attached at all.
And totally high quality. 2 times child ISOFIX, driver passenger side. Unfortunately, not on the passenger seat because I know some of you ladies like to have your children, or sometimes the gentleman on the passenger seat, to have better influence on them when needed. I find it a bit unfortunate. What I also find a shame is, it's okay here, this is a harder plastic, it could have been a bit softer, or maybe even faux leather. Because I believe it's quite scratch sensitive, as you can observe here, and what I might be missing is really some sort of pocket to perhaps store your tablet or your laptop safely. Working back here, store away, we have 2 USB-C ports. By the way, you can also game back here.
Nice, you can also entertain the kids, right?
The display definitely has more than a single function.
Ah.
And what I also find awesome, look up here please. This is hard here and not soft, but here is carbonara again. Then check out these plastics that look like chrome. Look here, soft faux leather. Nothing rattles here. Really well done. Down here it continues with black faux leather, and below again the high pile carpet, and the rear door paneling is similar to the front. Well, I really have to say, Tesla, this is how you build interiors. And there are exceptions here as well. It's hard for me, and I know you'll say, yeah, you're just another Tesla Model S fanboy or something. Yes, indeed I am. I just think that this car at 5,2 meters in length is absolutely perfect when it comes to space, roominess, and how the space is utilized. Sure, 10 to 15 kilowatt hours more net battery, and preferably a car that charges from 10 to 80% in 20 minutes. We'll see if he can do that in the Charging Checker's consumption monitor. And then I think it would be even for me, if it has a good suspension now, we'll try it right away. Yes, actually. My new electric car, right? Yes.
Can't really handle it, huh?
Sure, I think you can take that off, right?
Yes.
Please don't wave that rag around, honestly.
Car softly hums.
Well, anyway, I just say that we've shown you everything both outside and inside. Now let's take a look at whether he... Did you hear how that snorted? Lacking soft closing, right?
Well,
let's see if it can really match those good stats during the drive too, shall we?
sure.
First off, we want to test out the turning circle with you. We are dealing with 12.3 meters here, which is pretty reasonable for a car that measures 5.2 meters in length, but honestly, I would have preferred an optional rear axle steering feature to be available as well. That's quite practical because it allows us to reduce the turning circle by approximately plus or minus 1 meter. Especially for those who often drive in urban areas and use parking garages, I believe this can be very practical. For a lot of people living in the city, it's really important to be able to park properly and perhaps also receive some helpful assistance through advanced camera systems. First, find the indicator button as there's no lever available. Then, carefully reverse to observe how the parking system provides effective help in real-life situations. Have a helpful guideline here, which is quite decent, yet we've done away with the ultrasound sensors we previously had. So this is all somewhat like, what's it called at Tesla, pure vision only. So I think you can really manage that well here where there's a lot of space. But in some narrow entry and exit spots, it's tight, yes.
That could get disgusting, and especially earlier we had some kind of centimeter display or something for distance. All gone.
Yeah, I also don't think it's good that they seem to skimp on the ultrasound sensors here, because it's sort of a significant safety factor, especially when a camera is fogged up or not functioning properly. Handling a 5.2 meter long car is obviously not that easy. No. So feel free to write in the comments if this is enough for you, or if you would also like to have ultrasound sensors as support. We're planning to drive over the cobblestones with you. There's something rattling around here, isn't there?
Something's creaking, yeah.
What we can see very, very nicely here is the way the air suspension system in the Tesla Model S operates and manages to handle the various bumps and pressures it encounters. Because you also have the option, of course, to adjust the air suspension. They're in the car now. You can also adjust them to comfort mode if you like. Then it becomes slightly smoother and fully maximized for ultimate comfort experience. You can instantly notice that, and it's very clear to me. Moreover, you have the option to adjust the vehicle's height if you wish to tailor your driving experience further. Medium is the standard setting. However, you have the possibility to switch to low if you want. This will, of course, logically tighten the damping a bit more because naturally the suspension travel through with a shorter distance. And then, of course, you also have the option to switch to sport or extended mode here, where you can go ahead and tailor the settings to your preferences, allowing for more personalized adjustments according to what you specifically desire. I really have to say, Tesla completely nails it with their software. Honestly, I can't think of any other luxury car where you're able to customize and adjust everything in such a detailed manner as you can in this vehicle. Tesla consistently impresses with their exceptional sound systems, don't you agree? I truly love the clarity and attention to detail they provide, making each drive a delightful audio experience. They transform ordinary journeys into extraordinary ones with their immersive and high-quality sound.
What? Do you happen to know when exactly the manufacturer will arrive here? No, I don't have that information.
That's been considered outdated at Tesla for quite a while already. Oh, I see. I understand now. We would like to try out the Tesla Autopilot feature with you right here on the highway, maintaining a speed of 100 kilometers per hour. And he really manages to handle it very well, I must admit. We're testing the lane change and the lane is clear. Surprisingly, he manages to do it quite sensibly, seriously, all on his own.
I wouldn't have done quite that much calculating.
Maybe it was always a user error on our part, you never know. But we've shown you in countless videos with the Model 3, with the Model 3 performance, with the Model Y performance, where the strengths and weaknesses are. Feel free to watch the videos again. You have on board here essentially the steering assistant, the lane keeping assistant, the lane change assistant, enhanced autopilot, or even included in the full self-driving capability package. And here we have the full self-driving package on board, and then we write the people underneath. Yeah, no, in America everything works perfectly, but not in Europe, and everyone else is to blame, but not Tesla.
Yes, of course, sure.
That may all be correct from your perspective. I won't even argue with you because I just find it too silly to chat through rose-colored glasses with fanboys. However, we reside in Germany. Einfach Elektrisch conducts the tests on the cars in
Germany. Therefore, this means that
what works here, I am able to demonstrate clearly, and what happens to work elsewhere is quite irrelevant. Because we live here and we test it here.
Precisely.
And whoever, of course, goes to America and tests it there, and if it's good in America, then please feel free to show it. There are so many colleagues out there who have put together fantastic videos. But to claim that we're somehow too stupid, that we're Tesla haters, or that we don't have any idea about what we're discussing is really unfair. Just because it doesn't work for us? Of course, there are occasional user errors too. We're open and honest about it, and we're happy to get some guidance there. However, in my opinion, semi-autonomous driving really needs to effectively work here in Germany. Nowadays, premium manufacturers really excel in lane change assistance. Traffic sign recognition isn't really perfect here, but with other systems, it manages to be nearly flawless. So there are weaknesses. And if there are weaknesses, then we will point them out because a multitude of viewers who don't comment need exactly this information for their purchasing decision and also whether they might choose such a car or not. Only a few Tesla fanboys, and it's not just me, others on different channels see this too. They're gradually losing interest in making Tesla videos, which I find a bit sad because we just go through this slight headwind. And because they're great cars and because they offer many advantages, in the end, you have to weigh whether it suits you or not. But to bash everyone and then continue pushing them on in various online forums, honestly, I really don't find that fair of you at all. Please stop that and treat each other fairly. Let's advance electromobility together. Show what it can do, show what it cannot do, and also create this diversity among individuals. A major aspect in recent times, which many manufacturers are highlighting in their priorities, is that the future of infotainment does not lie in the tactile experience, but rather significantly in voice technology and interaction. That means especially when we take a look at our German premium manufacturers, but also our European premium manufacturers, you can control many things through voice commands. Especially with the systems, if we think about a Polestar or a Renault, which also use Google-based systems. And it surprises me quite a bit because on the one hand, people always say Tesla is such an advanced tech company that's really into high-end software and high-performance computers, but they apparently can't manage to create a very comprehensive voice control system, right?
Yes, it's always tough to gain any sort of attention when in the car.
Yeah, then the fanboys say, well, Tesla is just focusing on fully autonomous driving and robotaxis. That's all right. It could be the future someday. I also appreciate Tesla focusing on this. Can only help everyone. But I also want proper voice control now, right?
Yes.
Let's test this. So, hey Tesla. Hello Tesla. Voice control?
Nothing, simply deaf.
Let's press the small test button. Take us to Munich to the Viktualienmarkt. He located Munich, but he didn't find Viktualienmarkt, did he? Can you see it somewhere around here? So let's enter Munich Center now. That's probably Tesla standard then. And then it very quickly performs a complete route planning process. To be entirely fair, it genuinely is one of the very best navigation systems available that money can buy. Not just the speed, but also the reliability, the accuracy of the information about what state of charge you'll arrive with. He suggests that we should charge at lights now, aiming to arrive there with roughly 4% of the remaining range. But let's be honest, if we were driving this car properly at 150, 160 kilometers per hour, the calculation doesn't work, right?
I don't think so.
That means we would have to ecologize here with 100, 120 to reach Schleiz. However, that wouldn't be an issue because it would naturally alter the planning process and result in a different navigation destination overall. In between, there's a wide variety of places like Nampets and so forth where superchargers are available. We could make the necessary adjustments there accordingly. Now the steering assist is not available. Now it's making a huge fuss, even though I'm steering back and forth as I please until it finally recognizes me. So, no.
But also, wow.
It's so totally psycho. And just because I'm going to explain to all of you how the navigation system functions around here. Brutal. Then it basically works until the end. He preconditions the battery first. Some experts have said that now I'm driving partly autonomously here. If I happen to get closer to a lane, it will immediately activate the radar. And it's like with the Asians. If you are now, for instance, looking for charging stations here. I had to explain this recently to a viewer who tried to tell me I hadn't fully conditioned the battery in the Model Y Performance. And where we did it, if I just, for example, enter any charger here. Then, of course, if I set it as a destination, it would also precondition the battery at third-party stations. Sometimes I wonder where these fanboys get their knowledge from.
Certainly, it's always quite fascinating to observe and see.
And I find the navigation system top-notch. I think the traffic and real-time detection is great. I think the route reversal during traffic jams is great. It always worked perfectly, even back then in 2020. It still does that today. I find the preconditioning great because Tesla really puts power into it and properly preconditions the battery, especially in winter. There's honestly no way around it, but voice control is primarily just for the most essential functions like activating the wipers and other little details like that. But if I ask now, for example, what will the weather be like in Munich?
Weather? Just May?
Yeah, or how's the weather looking? That's such a classic. I feel like it was already working in cars roughly 10 to 20 years ago. He simply can't do that. I mean, he's really solely concentrated on applications here within the vehicle. Well, now you really have to consider just how much a Tesla can also be patronizing you. Well, I'm going to be 49 years old in just a few days, and sure, maybe I was slightly distracted by the Tesla, even though I was maintaining my lane perfectly while driving it. Now he simply will not let me somehow figure things out.
Nothing now, yes.
Cruise control still works both with and without distance, but the autopilot doesn't. It's no longer possible on this drive because it somehow detected that I was distracted. I'm left pondering the reason why that happened. Sure, mistakes occur and distractions happen, but it seemed to overreact in a more significant manner than usual this time. That's okay. After turning the steering wheel 100 times, we got it working again so it would keep driving us. But the fact that you can't activate it for the drive now means I basically have to stop, park, and start a new drive for it to work again. What a ridiculous thing, right?
That can't be the answer either. Oh, I get it.
Crack strip mode, start countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, it takes off 50. 100, that's like breaking the sound barrier and we slam on the brakes, but the brakes, they're too soft for me. Woodland Fairy, what kind of acceleration is that? From 0 to 100, what does it indicate? I can't even see it properly. I'm completely stunned by it. 2.97?
2.9 and 7.
From 0 to 50 in a time of 1.34 seconds and 0 to 60 in 1.69 seconds. You guys, this is truly insane. And then from 60 to 100 miles per hour in 1.36 seconds flat. Dude, Tesla, how crazy are you guys?
How could you possibly allow something like that to be driven on the road? I am completely serious.
Honestly, it's really quite astonishing, isn't it? So it's not 2.3 seconds now, it's half a second over, because the road conditions here aren't perfect.
There's something happening right now.
Come on. To be honest, it doesn't really matter. These are Porsche Taycan, delivering with a full charge what feels like 100 times consecutively. We had 70% battery charge now. Maybe we should have had 80 or 90%. That's also partly a user error. I'm not trying to deny any of that at all. But it's just really insane, right? Yeah.
But you accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in less than 3 seconds flat. Honestly, it's truly incredible.
But it's awesome, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's really awesome.
And even if you transfer it again, it's still not faster than my Tesla Model S Performance Raven from 2020. He also measured 2.9 there, Sport Buddy, right? So regardless of whether it's flat or not, sure, this probably has a lot more power in it, but not the perfect conditions like during our test back in 2020. However, if we're truly being honest, to surpass that and ensure it lasts, we'll definitely need a Taycan Turbo GT, and we have to be honest, it costs double the amount.
It costs twice as much, right?
And considering that, I really have to say for the regular everyday citizen, just like we both definitely are without any doubt, I truly believe it's an incredibly awesome thing. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, you truly have to admit it.
Well, hats off to Tesla, thumbs up. I have to honestly say, it doesn't get better than this, except maybe on the highway. We definitely want to see what's happening there, right?
What could be done in back can?
We just want to do it like you guys, spontaneously go 0 to 100 on the track again, because the drag mode needs preconditioning too. Shall we do a countdown?
3, 2, 1, let's go.
Go, and there it goes. 50, oh my god, 100. Can you believe it? Those brakes are just utterly terrible. Sorry, Tesla, but that's way too soft. Let's check 0 to 100 again. 2.9, isn't that right? Yeah.
The price is $2.99.
0 to 60 in 1.97 and 0 to 50 in 1.65. That means the Jita mode, the drag strip mode, is supposed to deliver high performance, but it's only partially doing so.
Yes, that's correct.
I have to be honest here, the brakes just don't work for me at all. It doesn't sit well with me that Tesla would install brakes like these in a 1,000 horsepower car, simply because they lack the necessary grip and stopping power. And I mean, you should really think about it. We just went from 100 to 0 a total of 2 times. We'd have had no burden either.
No, hardly.
Just imagine you're zooming at 280 with that machine and have to actually drop an anchor.
Braking distance isn't even something we need to discuss. That's just not enough.
So, and then telling people, yeah, if you want a better brake, you should, I don't know what it costs, invest X thousand euros more into such a track pack. I don't know if that's the right decision. Let's try out the suspension a bit. Here we are dealing with a fast-driven right turn. We are in flat mode and want to take the turn quickly. He's actually doing that quite well. We've set the air suspension to sport mode, but it's still very soft. For 1,000 horsepower, right? I really just have to point that out. I would have definitely preferred a bit more stiffness in the sport mode, don't you think?
He's pretty hard on the gas, right? But, you know, it could be a bit firmer. Yeah, that's true about the suspension.
But that's the classic issue we often encounter. It was unfortunately the same situation with my Model S Performance. Longitudinal acceleration somehow crushes everything that gets in its way. Except a Porsche Turbo S or Turbo GT, right? That might be able to keep up a little bit. Lotus email and such, they just can't seem to get it on track. The back end shakes and then you really don't feel like accelerating because you definitely don't want to damage a car like that. So Tesla manages to get it on the road sideways successfully, and that is simply awesome. Now, naturally, this compromise has been created in such a Model S. On one hand, you have a super sports car in terms of performance. Yes!
Definitely, truly a hype. 1,000 horsepower, obviously.
But what actually is, if you will, a family car? It fits 4 or 5 people, holds 800 liters of luggage with trunk and boot space, and that's really the great compromise, and you have to achieve this spread. And we should actually only evaluate this spread then. And for that, the brake is actually okay. Just for such a family car, yes.
When you really want to tap into the full 1,000 horsepower and find yourself needing to brake hard, it becomes quite tricky.
What's also difficult is always finding the indicator switch here, but what's definitely awesome is this normal steering wheel. I'm always curious. Feel free to comment if you're a steering wheel yoke kind of person, you know, without this part and a bit flatter at the bottom. Or if you're more into the traditional steering wheel, I think I'll stick with the classic for now, right?
Absolutely, me too, sure.
Let's measure the interior noise at 50 kilometers per hour. (61 decibels), and that's honestly a pretty decent value. Now we are accelerating to 70 kilometers per hour. 65, 67 decibels, that's great. And we're going 100 kilometers per hour. 70, 72 decibels, those are decent values, but they're not top of the top, right? No.
With the CW1, I had anticipated a little bit more.
Some vehicles available today can perform this task in a much better and more effective manner. I would truly be pleased if Tesla, despite their great material mixes, decided to incorporate more insulation in their future car models to enhance comfort.
That'd be nice.
Well, that certainly wouldn't hurt because we've had some electric cars with values of about 55, 56 decibels. You always have to mention that it's also a bit dependent on the asphalt. Maybe the asphalt here isn't perfect, like where we measured 55, 56 decibels. But in the end, more insulation is always good, right? And it's also quiet. Let's talk about the ride comfort here in the new Tesla Model S Plaid. And for that, we've got Stefan's buttometer on board. What's it saying?
As it has been recently, I have to honestly admit I'm sitting here quite comfortably indeed. Nice side support. Even with the 1,000 horsepower here, you don't feel like you're flying around or anything like that. You're pressed nicely into the seat and get the good stuff. Despite all that, the seat here is very comfortable. And the suspension setup, yes, we've already mentioned it, could be slightly firmer according to our personal preference.
I must say, the air suspension system does a rather commendable job here. I also think I can sense, even though it's been a bit longer now, also drawing on my memory of my Tesla Model S Performance Raven, that there have been quite notable improvements in the suspension area. The range between a comfortable and sporty feel has now become significantly more dynamic and responsive. And I must say, honestly, as a travel limousine, I believe this is an absolutely top-notch car.
I think so too, yes, it can be fun.
There are definitely air suspensions available, such as those found in a Mercedes EQS, which are considerably more cushioned, softer and more comfortable, providing an even greater degree of separation and isolation from the road, effectively dampening the road strength and feel far better. You have to say that in all fairness, I think. But this spread between a sports car with over 1,000 horsepower and a comfortable luxury sedan, he makes that work best, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Let's proceed to the conclusion regarding the Tesla Model S Plaid. I must confess that I am genuinely and profoundly impressed by the manner in which the Model S has continued to evolve and improve over the years. Sure, one might say that for some, the exterior design might not go far enough. Many, especially. Maybe Tesla Model S drivers might have wanted a facelift too, to create a more distinct difference from its predecessor with the new vehicle. Tesla has made just subtle modifications. A slightly larger front apron, a redesigned rear apron, wider fenders, and new taillights due to the inclusion of the CCS connection now placed on the driver's side. But especially in the interior, I think it has been completely revamped. In my opinion, excellent seats with heating and ventilation. Maybe some miss a massage feature, but it's an excellent cockpit, I think. One of the most high-quality dashboards you can have. It has a nice large display, fantastic software, and a really fast processor behind it. What some might miss is perhaps a head-up display, right?
Exactly, definitely.
To be honest, with its length of 5.02 meters, the Tesla Model S clearly stands out as the automaker that most effectively utilizes and optimizes the spacious interior.
The car boasts a spacious frunk at the front, an impressively large trunk, and ample space remains available, ensuring passengers are comfortably seated in the roomy back area. In terms of workmanship, everything is top-notch, it doesn't creak, everything is stylish, so it really looks good.
So, therefore, I believe the Tesla Model S long range, starting at around 92,000, or the Plaid for those who need over 1,000 horsepower, starting at about 107,000 euros, is an interesting choice. If you simply select the beautiful white multi-code option, which is the white pearl effect we had, combined with a sleek black interior, and then decide on the standard 19-inch rims, which were more than adequately sufficient for our particular needs, and provided everything we required, then essentially you have a fully equipped car for 92.9 or 107, especially if you desire to have a lane change assistant included in your package. You have to take a Hans Autopilot for 3.8, we did that too, but then you're actually at mid 90 or 110, and then you just have a ton of performance, lots of storage capacity, generous interior space, and an excellent balance between a very comfortable air suspension system and a touch of sportiness, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, so here you're actually getting a comprehensive package.
That's why we can only recommend that you go to the nearest Tesla store and book a test drive online. Absolutely, give it a try yourself, take it for a drive, and find out if what we're talking about truly holds up for you personally. Afterwards, take the time to consider if the Tesla Model S, with its Plaid version or without it, might actually be your next choice for an electric vehicle. And with that being said, we have now come to the end of today's video. I sincerely hope that you all enjoyed it. You give it a thumbs up. Feel free to check if you're already part of the einfach Electro community. If not, we'd love your support with a subscription. Then you won't miss the consumption drive and charging test with the Tesla Model S Plaid soon. Thank you for watching, stay healthy, and see you soon, your Ollie. You know, Stefan, I honestly think it's quite a shame they didn't bother to create any sort of new taillight design here, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it would have been really nice because it still looks somewhat outdated, you know, in some way. Yeah, it really does.
Shame.